Good morning, everybody. How's it going? This video is specifically for my algebra students. We're going to be going over the distributive property, or its full property, and the distributive property of multiplication, division, over addition, and subtraction. This should be a review for everybody, but it's a necessary skill, and it's going to help us in the next week or so do some more complicated things. So right now, we're worried about multiplying and dividing. What we will be worried about within the next week is to actually not put these things together, but take them apart. So like any good mechanics on any well-oiled machine, we need to know how to put things together and take them apart. So there's going to be a couple different useful forms of quadratics, and we're going to have to know how to put them together and take them apart. Just real quick before we even get started with all this, I'm not going to do all these. I will skip through and find some that I think are more relevant than others. Most of you guys, if you know how to multiply large numbers, you've done the distributive property before. They just may not have called it that. I've heard that the grade school teachers have gotten better about calling these things what they are. But let's say, for example, we said, what is 10? Let's pick a different number. Let's pick what is 15 times, I don't know, 8. Well, when I was in grade school in the Stone Age, we would do something like this. We'd do 15 times 8, right? And what do? We did 8 times 5, right? And 8 times 5 is 40 with the 0 here, and we carried the 4. And 8 times what is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that was 120. No big deal, right? What you actually just did was you did 8 times 10 plus 5. We actually did the 5 part first. So 8 times 5 is 40. And then 8 times 10 is 80. And remember the 8 times 1 was 8 plus the 4. Well, that was you right there. So you actually did the distributive property. You multiplied this times both of these and added them together. Now, it didn't matter so much when we actually knew the numbers, right? Because we can do this either way. It doesn't really matter. But it does matter when we're given a situation like this. If I'm given 5 times x plus 4. Well, x and 4, these are not like terms. I'm not allowed to add these together. Remember, if I want to add an x to something, it needs to have an x attached to it. So I can't add these together because I don't know what x is. What I can, however, do is I can multiply. And 5 times x is 5x. Nothing crazy. Remember, when we write these together, that just means 5 times x. So 5x is 5x, and 5 times 4 is going to be 20. So this can be useful if we need to simplify things, or if we need to solve equations. Namely, also if we need to graph this. This becomes much easier to graph than this does. So if we think about this as being, I don't know, a function, right? Like, then all of a sudden this becomes something we can graph. This is really hard to graph, okay? So again, there's also going to be some times where we want both of these forms. But it's eventually what we want to do before all is said and done the next week or so is we want to say, oh, well, 5 goes into x and 5 goes into 20. So let's go ahead and let's undo this and say, well, 5x divided by 5 is x, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, so we want to be able to go forwards and backwards. But listen, all we're really doing is some basic grade school math. So if you guys want some basic skills, some very easy things to work on here, it's multiplication, it's going to be some addition and things like that. So like I said, I'm not going to go through all these pages because I have a bunch of these videos I have to make. It is 6:30 in the morning. I'm sitting here in the dark, but let's get a few of these done. We'll start off from the beginning. Maybe I'll pick kind of the first one out of every row here, and I'll probably skip around, and then we'll talk about division. So again, let's start from here. 3 times x and 3 times 1, right? We're distributing, right? It's distributing, it's giving things out. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1, again, something everybody can do. 3 times 1 is 3. Good? So again, these are the same thing. These are equivalent. These are just two different forms. We would probably call this a simplified form, and we would probably call this a factored form. 4 times a plus 2, well, 4 times a, again, pretty simple again. We just write them closer together. This is just 4 times a, and 4 times 2 is going to be 8. Good? 5 times x, again, I'm not allowed to add x and y together. They're two different letters. So what does this become? 5x plus 5y. Alright, and then start to skip around here a little bit. I had one like number 8 here. Again, you guys forgot how to do this. This is 3x, that we did. Now, 3 times 2y is, well, 3 times 2 is 6y. And again, if we think about this, that's 2y 3 times. So it's 2y, another 2y, and a third 2y. Well, what is that? That's 2, 4, 6y. Okay? We've been doing that all along with these. There's just an invisible 1 in front of x that we don't write. Okay? It's like wearing socks with sandals. You can write it there, but you probably shouldn't. So 3 times x is really 3 times 1x. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? Watch out for some negative signs over here. So 5x, 2x times 5 is going to be, well, 2 times 5 is 10. 2x minus y, so minus, make sure that minus goes in there, okay? And 2x times y, well, again, we don't know what these numbers are, so all we do is we just continue to kind of just write them next to each other. This means 2 times x times y. So we do 2 times x times y. Just please watch those negative signs, okay? So let's say, for example, like this one over here, sorry. 4 times 2a is going to be 8a, so again, 4 times 2 is 8, minus 4 times 5 is going to be 20b. Okay? I am going to, let's take a look at some of these down in this bottom row. I'm just seeing if there's anything else we want to do in here. No, you should be okay with those. Now this one, you don't actually have to distribute. Well, again, we got so caught up with some x's and some y's and some things that are like terms and things that are unlike terms. It's sometimes easy to forget some of the, sorry, I gotta scroll up, some of the more basic things. 2 plus 3, something, again, everybody can do. 2 times 3 is 5. Again, remember your order of operations. You can do that first. And 5 times x, or x times 5 is just going to be 5x. Just an important note, if we wanted to, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3, I'm sorry, x times 3 is going to be 3x, and 2x and 3x makes 5x. So here you actually have the choice. You can either add these together, then multiply, but since we're doing the distributive property, we should be doing 2 times x, 2 times 3. Good? Alright, 3x times 7 is going to be, well, 3 times 7 is 21, again, and 3x times negative 2, so keep that minus sign, it's going to be 6x. Okay, again, now I can, these are like terms, right? This has got 1x and this has got 1x. So again, you want to think about it as a tangible item, think about this as a box of bananas. Okay, so I have 21 boxes of bananas and I sell 6 boxes of bananas. How many boxes of bananas do I have left? I got 15 boxes of bananas. Okay. Again, 5y times 2 is going to be 10y, 5y times 4 is going to be 20y, and again, I can add these together. Now they're not x's boxes, bananas, y's will be, I don't know, not very interesting, guys. Boxes of apples. So 10y and 20y is going to be 30y. Okay, so again, we're allowed to add these together because they are like terms. Okay, last one, this is going to be 8y minus 14. Okay, this, don't be fooled, you can't add these together, not like terms, so we're done with that. Okay. Oh, by the way, I don't know who this woman is, but thank you for making this sheet. Ms. Rieta Gui, Sure, I'm butchering that, but thank you wherever you are, lady. Thanks, appreciate it. Okay, now, big thing. We can also distribute division. Now, again, why are we allowed to do this? If you remember your order of operations, and this is where you parents in there, you get to shine for a second if you guys are kind of watching along. This was PEMDAS, right? They're not allowed to call it PEMDAS anymore, right? But it was parentheses, and exponents, any multiplication, division, then the addition, subtraction. Well, we're doing multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So again, we can do any multiplication division before we do addition and subtraction. Here, this really, we have to remember though, since these are separated by a plus sign, this 4 has to get distributed to everything. Another way you could write this is 1/4. I don't know why that keeps doing that, it's really annoying. Stop it. Oh, Jesus. 1/4 times 4x plus 8. Okay. That's another way to do that if you wanted to write it that way. I don't think we, generally speaking, want to multiply by fractions, so we'll go over some of these questions as we have to. Okay. So here, I'm going to divide this by 4 and divide this by 4. So again, what's 4 divided by 4? Well, it's 1x. We don't write the 1 in front, but there is a 1 there, right? And what's 8 divided by 4? It's 2. Okay? In other words, if I had this 4 times, I would have this. If I broke this into 4 equal pieces, right? I got, oh, I don't know. I got 4 boxes of bananas and just 8 bananas. I got boxes of bananas, and I divide them equally amongst, 4 different people. Everyone will get a box of bananas and then 2 more bananas. Okay? Here, again, 2 divided by 2 is 1x. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3y. And 4 divided by 2 is going to be 2. So again, you want a basic skill to practice with your kids, just straight division. If you guys want to use a calculator, use a calculator if you have to. Again, here, now, order of operations. Something, we cannot distribute this here yet. We can, we'll talk about how we can kind of get around it. But really what we should be doing is distributing this 3 first, then dividing by 3. But if you think about it, if I multiply by 3 and then divide by 3, I mean, think about any number you have. If I take 5 times 3 divided by 3, well, you just kind of undid the same operation. You go right back to 5, right? Like 10 times 3 divided by 3 is just 10. So really, x plus 1 times 3 divided by 3 is just going to be x plus 1. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this, okay? The first one is to go ahead and distribute this. Now remember, anything that's on top of a fraction bar is automatically in its own parentheses. Okay, you have to do everything up here first. But we can still distribute this inside parentheses. But let's start by saying this. 6 plus, okay, now let's distribute this 3. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 plus 1 is going to be 3. We're going to divide by 3, but first, again, we can add these together. 6 plus 3 is 9. And we say 3x, 6 plus 3. Again, these are like terms, even though they're separated. That's okay. Divided by 9 over 3. And then let's distribute this 3. 3x divided by 3 is going to be x. And 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3. So no big deal there. We can also do it another way. I can actually just go ahead and say, well, right here, 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. Now, this is where people get a little mixed up. When I distribute this, remember, this is one whole term, right? When I distribute this, this 3 is only going here. It does not go to this because this has not been multiplied yet. So we can't do that. We'd be breaking a little bit of order of operations. But 3 divided by 3, before we multiply it, is going to be 1. So this becomes 1 times x plus 1. Well, 1 times x plus 1 is just x plus 1. 2 plus 1 is going to be 3. Okay? So if you're comfortable with this, you should be working on this. Okay. If you're not comfortable with this, you should stick with this, and this is kind of a more advanced way to do things. Pick what's best for you. You guys are smart kids. Okay. I will talk real quick about number 24. 2x minus 5. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing this to make these things more simple. Well, when we're dividing by 2, we're looking for even numbers. So 2x divided by 2 is going to be x. That's no big deal. Negative 5 divided by 2, or we'll just leave the minus sign, divided by 2, is 2.5. Do you want to write it as a decimal? Do you want to write it as a fraction? And does that help you? It depends on what you're trying to do. You're going to have to make a decision. You guys are smart kids about when you want to distribute and when that's a good thing, and when maybe we just leave it in this form without a decimal and a fraction. So we'll kind of cross those bridges as we come to them. Okay, I'm going to pick a few more of these, and then I will leave you guys to it. We have not distributed any negative numbers, if you guys have noticed. These have all been nice positive numbers. We will talk about distributing negative numbers and how that's going to be a hard thing on another video, but no big deal. Okay, so we'll do 26, we'll do 30, and then maybe 33 will go right down that middle column. So again, if you guys are good with this, you can divide by 2 here and divide by 2 here. It's up to you, so I'll do it both ways. 6 plus, okay, distribute 2x plus 8 over 2. 6 plus 8, okay, again, 14. 2x plus 14 over 2, and let's distribute this 2. It's going to be x, and 14 divided by 2 is going to be 7. Okay, if you wanted to, again, if you are comfortable, six divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so this becomes x plus 4. 3 plus 4 is going to be 7. Okay, so again, like I said, if you're good here, keep it this way. If you're good here, do it this way. Here, again, nice. 15x divided by 5 is going to be, no, I want to write 15x divided by 3x plus 25 divided by 5. Again, 25 divided by 5 is going to be 5y, and 30 divided by 5 is going to be 6. All right. Let's pick. Let's pick this one. It's gonna get ugly real quick. Again, don't overlook the obvious. 4x times 5 minus 8 over 3. Remember your order of operations. If you simplify this first, do not no. Order of multiplication first and subtraction. 4x times 5 is going to be 20x minus 8 over 3. Again, game time decision for you. Do you want to actually do this? Well, 20 divided by 3, oh boy. I mean, you could write this as 20x over 3 minus 8 over 3. Like, we can separate them if we really want to. But typically, guys, the further you get in math, you're just going to leave it like this. 20 divided by 3 is what? 6.66666666. Yeah, do you really want to write that? I don't know. It's up to you guys, I guess. But this would be, like I said, a game time decision. Okay. Anyway, I hope this helps. You guys should be able to go through these. Listen, I know a lot of you parents. What we do a lot of times in class is, you know, we focus on some of the harder concepts. If you don't think your child is up to that, you know your children better than I do. But most of them, you know, they can add, subtract, multiply, divide. You can use a calculator if you want. It's just a good way to get everybody involved in some kind of basic skills. But I hope for the rest of you guys this helps. It's straightforward. It's distributed properties. Should all be a review. I said today we worried about putting them together. The next one we'll talk about start to take them apart and how to work with some kind of bigger things. Okay? All right. I hope you guys all have a great day. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you later.